ready.
Hello. Tonight my guests are Monsieur Felix and Mr. Norton, the Montreal cookie magnates who go through no less than 1 ton of chocolate every week. And as it happens, Felix and Norton turn out to be, at the moment, one and the same person, the founder of the cookie chain, Michael Eskenazi. Michael Eskenazi opened the first Felix and Norton in 1985. Now he has 18 stores in Montreal, Quebec City, and Ottawa. And his cookie chain is worth millions of dollars. Felix and Norton specializes in cookies made with imported French chocolate. They're sold mostly as gifts. Eskenazi says that's one reason for his success. People may not want to spoil themselves, but they do spoil others. A box of Felix and Norton doesn't come cheap, though. The cookies cost about $8.80 for about 20 cookies. Michael Eskenazi, welcome to Sunday Night. I see you decided to spoil all of us here at Sunday Night, bringing us some of your cookies.
Well, I have to stand behind my product, and I think that's why I'm here. It's more for the cookies than for me.
You do spoil yourself still with these cookies, though, do you?
Every day.
How many?
Oh, it depends on the day. I certainly, there's some days where I'll have a half a dozen, another day where I'll just eat a corner of one. But it's hard to resist when you walk into the store and smell that aroma. You
make $5 million in sales a year, or last year your sales were about $5 million. How many of those lovely cookies is that?
That's certainly, it's more than 10 million.
More than 10 million cookies. You have to love cookies, I guess, to be in this business.
Who doesn't love cookies? Everybody loves cookies. Doesn't matter the age or or where you're from. Everybody enjoys cookies.
But this is a recession. You pointed out that it's exactly $8.80 for 20 cookies, which is 44 cents a cookie, right? But that's expensive, I guess, for cookies. Times are tough. Are people buying?
Still plenty of people buying, because everybody needs a certain feeling of luxury, and it's still only 44 cents or 88 cents for 2 cookies. There's a lot of other small snacks, the packaged cakes or chocolate bars are in that range, and this is something, the key word is the quality, the high quality of the ingredients we put in.
So for you, there is no recession?
The recession hurt us, but nowhere near like it hurt everybody else. We still have come through it very, very well. We actually grew quite a bit in the last year.
You did?
Yes.
When the economy is contracting and people are closing and laying off?
We doubled the number of stores that we had last year. We went from 9 stores to 18 in 1991.
And it's just like clear sailing?
Oh, mostly, yeah. You know, each store is doing pretty well.
That's nice to hear, because you don't usually hear good stories about economic growth. Cookies are economic growth, aren't they?
Well, yeah, it's still a business.
But you didn't start out in the cookie business. You went to business school, but you ended up in the retail, in the women's clothing business. What made you get out of that?
Get out of that or get into it?
Well, get out of, no, you ended up and you did work in there, but you left. Why did you leave?
Well, one day I didn't have a job anymore. I had changed jobs a couple of times, and one day I was called into my boss's office and told that I was no longer employed. And being out on the street and trying to figure out what the next step I should do in my life, I was an old 28 years old at that point, and I decided that it was time to start my own business, that I had 7 years of experience working for others, and I wanted to do something on my own.
How did you know it was cookies?
Well, I'd always had a sweet tooth, and I'd always enjoyed baking and just playing in the kitchen, and got to admit that I'm a chocoholic. And I had seen cookie stores in most shopping malls in the States and even in Western Canada, and said, how come nobody's doing this in Montreal? And so I decided, well, why not me? I know retail, I know how retail operations and management, and baking was a hobby. Let's put it all together and see what happens.
It was more than that, though. You do have a business degree, so you really did your homework and your research before you opened up, started selling cookies.
It wasn't that I got the idea one day and opened the next. It took, there was a solid 8 months of market research and testing recipes and putting the whole image together, because we wanted it to have an image that said fun and said quality.
Let's start with the cookies before we get to the image.
finding the recipe. This isn't the recipe you used to bake when you were a kid at home in the kitchen.
No, it's not. It's not exactly that recipe. It was a recipe, or the cookies are various recipes that I developed mostly in that 8-month period. I simply set out to say, I want to sell the best cookie that money can buy. And how am I going to do that? And I started doing research and went into libraries and went to the Institut d'Hôtellerie de Québec and talked to pastry chefs. And I saw that everywhere cookies are basically 5 ingredients: butter, sugar, eggs, flour, and chocolate. So I said, well, how am I going to make the best cookie around? I'm going to have to find out what's the best butter that you can get, what's the best flour. And I did a lot of research onto all those things. I found out, for example, there's 30 or 40 kinds of flour.
Wait a minute. If these are the best cookies you can get, let's have some.
Allow me.
Okay, and we'll taste them. First of all, they all have chocolate and some different colored chocolate, right?
Yeah, that's an amaretto almond milk chocolate chunk.
Should I eat this before supper?
Why not? It's 11 o'clock at night, Dennis.
Well,
This is an evening snack.
I'll keep me up late, right? They are delicious, and they're sweet, and they're smooth, and they sell well. But there's a story behind why they're called Felix and Norton. I mean, they're not called Michael Eskenazi's cookies, and you didn't think up the name over the kitchen table. You really did your research on that, too.
Well, we live in a bilingual city, and we wanted to come up with a name that was fun, that shared that bilingual spirit, and that transmitted some of the feelings that we wanted to about our cookies. So Monsieur Felix is your French gourmet chef. He's the man who made these super high quality. And Mr. Norton is an American baker by trade, because chocolate chip cookies is still something that's very American. And he's also the marketing whiz who came up with all of our special packaging ideas.
Boy, are they ever sweet. I can feel the sugar. Is it a trade secret? I mean, how much sugar is in each cookie? I mean, percentage-wise, is it a trade secret?
It's a pretty standard amount for just about any cookie. A cookie, like I said, a cookie is made out of a lot of sugar. Actually, percentage-wise, it's probably lower, only because we're much higher in butter and chocolate than most other cookies.
And there was sugar in the chocolate, too, of course.
Of course.
Once you got the name and you had all this sort of vision that you had in this image of the name, you opened that first store on Queen Mary Road in Montreal. What was it like the first day?
I remember being extremely scared. I had done a lot of sampling with friends and family, and everybody told me the cookies were great, but I was just trembling, wondering, now that I'd invested my entire life savings in this business, and would people actually take money out of their pockets and buy them? And I'll never forget the euphoria by noon, seeing lineups of people in the store and the cash register ringing, going, they like me. They really like me.
And it was clear sailing from then on.
Well, there were certainly some rocky moments. We opened a second store that had a lot of trouble getting started, more because of the location and the quality of our product, and it put a drain on cash flow for a while, and things turned around about 2 years after we started, when we opened our third store in the downtown area and really made our mark on the city.
And was it word of mouth, mouth-watering word of mouth that kept things going?
That and the decision to start putting some dollars into advertising. We started a radio campaign and started to bring people to our stores, especially for special occasions, gift-giving occasions. And we started to really put an emphasis on Felix and Norton as a gift store, not just a place to buy cookies for yourself.
A gift store? Because people don't want to buy rich cookies and eat them. They give them to someone and hope someone gives them one.
Well, they know that it's something that everybody's going to like, so it's really easy to give as a gift. And we have unusual things, as people may have noticed in that introduction. One of our biggest sellers is a cookie bouquet, a dozen cookies on rose stems in a flower box. And it's all dressed up to look like if someone's getting roses. They get something that tastes a lot better.
Don't eat the roses. I don't know, who knows what roses taste like. All right. You're a businessman. You were in the retail trade, and you set out your own business. Does that mean now, because a lot of people want to get out of the rat race and set up their own business, did you get into a bigger rat race? Do you have to work all the time? Is it cookies, cookies, cookies?
Well, it's certainly a very demanding. It's a 7-day and 7-night-a-week business, and there's a lot of responsibility. I'm responsible to a lot of different people. But, and for probably the first 5 or 6 years, I really did work extremely long hours. It's only about the last year or so that I still work hard and I still work long, but not as much as I used to now that I have a couple of beautiful young girls at home.
Your daughters, you mean?
Yes.
You want to spend more time with them and less time. Well, do you ever spend time in the kitchen mixing dough anymore?
Well, once in a while, we, to launch a new flavor, of course, I have a little more help. I don't have to clean up after myself anymore. That's one of the nice things about being a boss.
What was your smartest move, do you think, in this last 7 years of Felix and Norton?
I think it still goes back to the beginning. It's just saying, I'm not going to cut corners. I'm not going to try to look at where I can save money. I'm going to look at just putting out something that's the best. And that quality is something that I've never, ever wanted to compromise on.
No, I hear that. I say a lot of people talk about excellence and top quality. I mean, is that true? Really, is that really true that these are the absolute best? There are no corners cut here?
It is absolutely the best. There isn't. I can't think of anything that I could put in that could make them any better. It's all natural ingredients. It's the same things that I put in those cookies when I made a little 2-pound batch in my home mixer.
How many pounds do you make every day now?
Oh, probably around 4,000 or 5,000 pounds a day.
Whew. That's why you can use a ton of chocolate in a week.
Sure.
Did you ever make a stupid move?
Oh, we've made some mistakes. Again, I touched on earlier the choice of location in a couple of stores that had some trouble, or rushing to launch a product before it wasn't completely ready, and having to pull it back till we realized what was wrong.
I wonder. I like to ask this question to people who are in business or who do anything. Do you make money doing this? You make a lot of money doing this.
We're comfortable.
Come on, you have 18 stores. You own your own cookie company.
It's a successful business, and I'm very proud of how we've done. I'm very proud of all the people involved, and yes.
So you're rich.
If one day I would decide to leave it, I guess then I would consider myself rich. Right now, every cent goes into building it, making it a bigger and more successful company. My
guest tonight is Michael Eskenazi, the founder and sole owner of Felix and Norton Cookies.
Mrs. Eskenazi.
And Mrs. Eskenazi, of course. But you do the cooking.
I do the cooking.
And you're going to build by moving into Toronto.
That's right. That's the next step for the fall.
Will this bilingual cookie company work there?
I don't see any problem there. Again, we'll go back to my keyword, quality. They're going to love the cookies, and they're going to love the fun image of these two characters that fight with each other over who's going to make a better cookie.
Do you think you'll do better in Toronto than you've done in Montreal and Quebec City and Ottawa?
I think I'll do as well.
Any competition down there? Because they have those cookie stores in all those malls, don't they?
They have a number of cookie stores, but I don't believe that anybody does the same kind of cookie, the same variety, and nobody else is in the gift business. Everybody else is just selling the odd cookie here and there to people passing by.
And will it always just be cookies? I mean, you also sell ice cream sandwiches, right?
Yeah.
But you're going to stick with cookies?
Stick with what we do well.